yesterday we had that whole thing, it's like shopping no, but Craig goes, fire suppression fund, which
As
already
all
had
of
the
the
money in that came to a.
So why did we destroy? I mean, what we're going to do is hopefully have them just not concur on.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 32nd day of session,
Why did
February
we
the
do all that?
27th, 2025, 68th Wyoming Legislature.
And then he still did his
Members,
bill.
we are going to get ready and call the roll, so please make your way to the chamber. Try to be quiet so we can hear it. And Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
Convening roll call for the 32nd day, February 27th, 2025. Alamand? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get
Brown? Gary?
anywhere.
Brown Landon?
It's
Byron?
going to be too hard to carry.
Campbell Elisa? Campbell Kevin? Chestick? Clouston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Filer? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Haroldson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean? Locke? Lucas? McCann? Nicholas? Ottman? Pendergraft? Posey? Provenza? Riggins? Woo! Woo!
Representative Riggins, you are a sight for sore eyes. And how did you get in here and nobody knew you were sitting there? That is fantastic. Well, we're so blessed to see you, and thank you for being here and your recovery. We will continue to pray for your full and speedy recovery. So thank you, Representative. Well, you are more than welcome to, sir. We'll finish this up and get right to you. Glad you're here.
Rodriguez Williams? Schmid? Sherwood? Singh? Smith? Storer? Strock? Stivar? Tarver? Thayer? Washut? Wasserberger? Webb? Weber? Worf? Williams? Winter? Wiley? Yin? Mr. Speaker? Harshman? 58 present, 4 excused.
All right. Our prayer will be led again today by the good Representative Angelos. If y'all would please rise, she will lead us in prayer.
Thank you. So we're going to start out with the scripture, Proverbs 19:21. Many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. You can join me. Thank you, Father God, for this day. We thank you for the ability to come and serve the people of Wyoming, to serve you, to serve our families, even when we're far away. And I just pray today that our minds are stayed on your plans, not our own, that your plans stand, that your plans your will is done. And we thank you again for the opportunity to be here. We thank you for Representative Riggins joining us, and we just pray that you will continue to heal him and strengthen him. And in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Representative Angelos. Fellow members and guests, please join me in the salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
morning. Good morning. Doing okay? A lot of speeches.
All right, members, we'll go ahead and get this ship on the water and moving ahead here. So we're going to untie it and make our way out into the bay here and start moving across. So. Journal Committee report.
Your Journal Committee reports that the Journal of February 26, 2025 has been read and recommends that it be approved. Representatives Jarvis and Posey.
Thank you, reading clerk. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to want to hear this because we're going to introduce you to two extremely and very special people that are sitting at the front of this body right now. Our local, what should we call it, director of levity has gotten a couple people here that are going to be working with us today. I'd like to introduce you. If you two would please stand so these folks can see you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Katie and Brantley Filer. These are Representative Filer's children. These are the children of the liaison of levity, and so if we're going to have the opportunity to get to see them working with the body today and working with delivering messages and stuff like that. So we're blessed to be able to have that happen today. So would you like to say anything about your lovely family, Representative Filer?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Folks, my wife and I, we have 6 children. And I think one of the best things about having 6 children is we learned from the first 4 what not to do. So when you have the 2 youngest children, I can't tell you how proud I am of both of these 2. You want to talk about the sweetest, kindest. I mean, they're helpful with their friends. Katie's younger brother, Brantley, believe it or not, is pretty much her protector. They bond together. They're like best friends. And, it's a testament not only to what my wife has done. I always worked, I wasn't at his home as much, but she did a wonderful job. And I can't tell you how wonderful these 2 children are. The other 4, they're okay. They're okay. But these two are rock stars. And I love you both. And I'm glad you're here with us today.
Representative Filer.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. And then can I have that real quick privilege?
Yes, you certainly may, sir.
So as I told you all before that my wife and I and all the kids, we used to sit around that table in the evenings or for breakfast or whatever, and we just tell jokes. So he's not allowed to yell out the answer to this because he knows every joke there is out there almost. But anyways, the dad joke of the day is, how do you stop a dog from barking in your front yard? I take that back. Representative Brady knows every one of these. But yes, put them in the backyard. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Filer. All right. Okay, well, we look forward to having you guys with us today. It'll be fun to have you guys here as our honorary pages, so enjoy and welcome. Privilege. Hey, good morning, Representative Riggins. Glad to have you. Privilege of the floor.
Thank you. Got to remember how this all works again. Thank you for the warm reception on my return. I don't quite feel like MacArthur coming back to the Philippines, but pretty darn close. I want to thank all the many people with the get well soon cards, calls, emails, text, and of course all the many associated prayers on my behalf. Very grateful. Obviously they worked. And then of course I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the excellent Nocona County medical health people that I was dealing with, from a standard ordinary stress test, angioplasty, bypass, and back home in 10 days. So Outstanding work. I mean, we're just lucky. We're blessed in that county. I mean, I'm sure you have the same thing here in Cheyenne. And I don't think the organization and coordination it took to get me in and out of there with no pre-planning is just fantastic. There wasn't one element from admission to through the whole surgical procedure and then the outside doctor's offices I had to visit. Just fantastic from top to bottom. And then finally, of course, the main primary care nurse who is running around town with our dogs, my wife Leslie, who gets stuck with this at the end and takes care of me for 43 plus years. So thank you very much.
We are so thankful to have you back with us, Representative Riggins, and I am looking forward to not seeing a little blue spot here where it always says excused on the roll call. So glad to have you back here on behalf of your district and this body. We missed you, and you left a hole when you were not here, and we're thankful that you're back here. So continued good health and a long, happy and healthy life, sir. Representative Brown, please.
Privilege of the floor, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, members of the 68th, I want to start by apologizing to this body. One of the biggest things that I have tried to espouse in my career as a legislator is the level of decorum. We can all disagree without being disagreeable, and I broke that yesterday. I have a serious passion. I have a serious passion for this state and for doing things the right way, and that passion sometimes overloads. And standing at that lectern yesterday, I let my passion, as frankly, as my dad would say, I let my mouth override my butt. Went home last night a little early, needed to cool down and reflected into the word of the Lord, and as I sat down, I stumbled upon James 4:10 that says, "Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he will lift you up." So I want to apologize not only to you, Mr. Speaker, members of this body, staff, public, but to the institution that I represent. What I said, I stand behind. How I said it, I am very regretful for. I apologize for my actions. I am sincere in this apology, and I feel it in the bottom of my heart that I let this institution down. As I stated at the beginning of this, we can all disagree without being disagreeable, and my actions yesterday were disagreeable. I hope to earn that trust back from every single one of you. I hope I have at least opened your heart to the understanding that I am as humble as they come, and when I recognize that I've done wrong, I will humble myself, not only before this body, but before the Lord. With that, Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Brown. We appreciate that, and it is not lost on us what that took to do that. Thank you, and we do appreciate you as a part of this body. Representative Washut, Chairman Washut.
Privilege of the floor, Mr. Speaker.
Please, go ahead.
Thank you. Members, I don't know if you saw the news today, but our Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force began an investigation involving child sexual abuse materials that led to the rescue of 8 children who were being misused in the most horrific ways in the Philippines. And folks, from the bottom of my heart, that ICAC team are my heroes. And I think they deserve a round of applause. .
We would pray that they would continue to root out abuse like that all around the world. And it is our responsibility and our charge to do everything we can to support that effort. And so thank you, Representative Washut, for that and making us aware of that. Any other privileges, messages, anything? Okay. Well, we've got a special event that's going to be coming. We've got a group of cellists from the University of Wyoming that are going to be performing. That's the reason for all the chairs up front there this morning, ladies and gentlemen. So until those folks get here, we will continue on. We'll see them assemble here. So messages from the governor. None? Missed that one? Okay. Down the list. Messages from the Senate, there's none. Enrolled acts. We can work on those in the interim. We are at that order of business of signing of enrolled acts. First enrolled act for our consideration, House Enrolled Act number 44.
House Enrolled Act number 44, being original House Bill 33, an act relating to sales and use tax, amending the distribution of sales and use taxes on motor vehicles and trailers to the highway fund as specified, providing an appropriation, specifying applicability, and providing for an effective date, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
I'm about to sign Enrolled Act number 44, having been original House Bill number 33. I have so signed. Next Enrolled Act for our consideration, number 45.
House Enrolled Act 45, being original House Bill 36, an act relating to the Hathaway Scholarship Program, modifying definitions, modifying the standards for satisfactory academic progress, amending minimum enrollment hours for Hathaway Scholarship eligibility, modifying scholarship awards, and providing for an effective date, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
I am about to sign Enrolled Act number 45, having been original House Bill 36. I have so signed. Representative Byron, congratulations. Next Enrolled Act for our consideration, number 46.
House Enrolled Act number 46, being original House Bill 275, an act relating to crimes and offenses, providing a misdemeanor offense and amending the offense of felony animal cruelty to address actions where wildlife is reduced to possessions, prohibiting the torture of wildlife as specified, specifying the required treatment of certain wildlife, specifying penalties, providing for license revocation and suspension, and forfeiture of devices and equipment for specified convictions, clarifying trapping requirements, removing a reporting requirement, providing definitions, making conforming amendments, and providing for an effective date, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
I am about to sign Enrolled Act number 46, having originally been House Bill number 275. I have so signed. Once again, congratulations, Representative Byron. Next Enrolled Act for our consideration, House Enrolled Act number 47.
House Enrolled Act number 47, being original House Bill 94, an act relating to education, removing a limitation on the number of charter schools that the Wyoming Charter School Authorizing Board may authorize, making conforming amendments and providing for an effective date, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
I am about to sign Enrolled Act number 47, having been originally House Bill 94. I have so signed. Congratulations, Representative Andrew. Next Enrolled Act for our consideration, House Enrolled Act number 42.
House Enrolled Act number 42, being original House Bill 28, an act relating to motor vehicles, amending grounds for the disqualification from driving a commercial motor vehicle for persons under 21 years of age, authorizing expunged records to be considered for purposes of disqualification from driving a commercial motor vehicle as specified, adding violations that qualify as serious traffic violations, authorizing the department to waive examinations for a commercial driver's license applicant as specified, providing rulemaking authority and providing for an effective dates, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
I'm about to sign Enrolled Act number 42, having originally been House Bill number 28. I have so signed. Next Enrolled Act for our consideration, number 43.
House Enrolled Act Number 43, being original House Bill 11, an act relating to taxation and revenue, extending the sunset date for the manufacturing sales tax and use tax exemptions, repealing provisions for the manufacturing use tax exemption to align with the manufacturing sales tax exemption, and providing for an effective date, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
I am about to sign Enrolled Act number 43, having originally been House Bill number 11. I have so signed. Okay, that's it for the Enrolled Acts. Representative Geringer, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Joint Conference Committee number 2 regarding message number 383 having to do with Senate File 32 unpaved road speed limits. Committee will meet today upon adjournment.
Okay, thank you, Representative. Any other announcements? No other announcements? Okay. Standing committee reports.
Senate File 34, sponsored by School Facilities, School Finance Routine and Major Maintenance Calculations, an act relating to K through 12 public school finance. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 2 appropriations, to whom referred Senate File 34 engrossed. School Finance Routine and Major Maintenance Calculations. Respect the report, same back to the House with the recommendation that do pass. Ayes, Representatives Alaman, Angelos, Haroldson, Pendergraft, Sherwood. Noes, Representatives Baer, Smith. Representative Baer, Chairman. Senate File 55, sponsored by corporations, third-party filers, an act relating to registered offices and agents. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 7, corporations, elections, and political subdivisions, to whom referred Senate File 55 engrossed, third-party filers, respect the report, same back to the House with the recommendation that do pass. Ayes, Representatives Brown, Heft, Johnson, Knapp, Locke, Lucas, Webb, Weber, Yin. Representative Knapp, Chairman. Senate File 57, sponsored by corporations, 911 service reporting, an act relating to emergency telephone service. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 7, corporations, elections, and political subdivisions, to whom is referred Senate File 57, 911 service reporting, respect the report, same back to the House with the recommendation that do pass. Ayes, Representatives Brown, Heft, Johnson, Knapp, Locke. Excused, Representatives Lucas, Webb, Weber, and Yin. Representative Knapp, Chairman. Senate File 95, sponsored by Senator Rothfuss, Special Purpose Depository Institution Amendments, an act relating to banks, banking, and finance. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 7, corporations, elections, and political subdivisions, to whom is referred Senate File 95, Special Purpose Depository Institution Amendments. Respect the report, same back to the House with the recommendation that do pass. Ayes, Representatives Brown, Heft, Johnson, Knapp, Locke, Lucas, Webb, Weber, Yin. Representative Knapp, Chairman. Senate File 107, sponsored by Senator Nethercott. Freedom to work and build businesses, an act relating to miscellaneous contracts and actions. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 7, corporations, elections, and political subdivisions, to whom is referred Senate File 107 engrossed, freedom to work and build business, respect the report, same back to the House with the recommendation do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Brown, Heft, Johnson, Knapp, Locke, Lucas, Webb, Weber, Yin. Representative Knapp, Chairman. Senate File 175, sponsored by Senator Kolb, unemployment insurance coverage, period, and reporting. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 10, Labor, Health, and Social Services, to whom is referred Senate File 175 engrossed, unemployed insurance coverage, period, and reporting. Respect the report, same back to the House with the recommendation do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Klauston, Guggenmoss, Heft, McCann, Ottman, Rodriguez, Williams, Wasserberger. Noes, Representative Yin. Excused, Representative Stivar. Representative Rodriguez Williams, Chairman. This bill was re-referred to Committee Number 2, Appropriations. Mr. Speaker, your Committee Number 2, Appropriations, to whom is referred Senate File 175 engrossed. Unemployment insurance coverage, period, and reporting. Respect the report, same back to the House with the recommendation that do pass. Ayes, Representatives Alaman, Angelos, Bear, Haroldson, Pendergraft, Smith, Sherwood. Representative Bear, Chairman. Senate File 172, sponsored by Senator Boner. Physical Therapy Licensure Compact, an act relating to professions and occupations. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 7, Corporations, Elections, and Political Subdivisions, to whom is referred Senate File 172, Physical Therapy Licensure Compact. Respect the report, same back to the House with the recommendation that do pass. Ayes, Representatives Brown, Heft, Johnson, Locke, Lucas, Webb. Noes, Representatives Knapp, Weber, and Yin. Representative Knapp, Chairman. Senate File 174, sponsored by Senator Driscoll, Constitutional Apportionment 2, an act relating to state legislative districts. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 7, Corporations, Elections, and Political Subdivisions, to whom is referred Senate File 174, Constitutional Apportionment 2. Respect the report, same back to the House with the recommendation that do pass. Ayes, Representatives Brown, Heft, Johnson, Knapp, Locke, Lucas, Webb, Weber, Yin. Representative Knapp, Chairman.
Thank you, reading clerk. Okay, here's what you've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. Before we proceed on, we do have our special event. They are staged here to my left. The University of Wyoming Cello Octet is known for their performances of classical repertoire arranged for 8 cellos. Including in the group are UW Music majors and non-major cellists from Wyoming and beyond, led by Dr. Beth Vanderborough, professor of cello at the University of Wyoming. Fellow representatives and guests, please help us welcome these talented students to the House.
Hello, we are the cellists from the University of Wyoming, and we will be playing 4 pieces for you today. The first of which is a piece by J.S. Bach called Jesu, der du mein Ziele.
Got to be honest, I was a little concerned. You guys kind of all got up and got ready to leave. I said, surely there's more than that.
So the next piece that we'll be playing is also by J.S. Bach, and it is an air for 4 cellos. next piece we'll be playing is written by Franz Schubert, and it's called Air Rus. And our final piece for you all today is called Blue Tango, written by Leroy Anderson.
There you go, representatives. Ask for it because I was gonna.
We could do one more thing for you. This will be a feature of one of our talented group here, Jackson Cox. He'll play a piece for you called Julio by Mark Summers. And Jackson is a native of Laramie, Wyoming, senior right now at the university. We're very proud of his talents.
Thank you so much for that. And ladies and gentlemen, I recorded that. I hope that's not a problem. I played what I heard the other day from the orchestra, but that took a total of 15 minutes out of our day to have that. That's everything, all the pieces. What an incredible, gifted, and talented group you are, and what a blessing you are to us today. And wow, just incredible. I mean, so thank you guys for coming and being here. Continue on in what you're doing. What a blessing you are to this world and the light that you bring to it. And so I was thinking as I was sitting here, and I won't take much of your time, but there were words that were going through my mind that as you guys were playing, and it was eloquent, it was lifting, it was, new, it was breathe, just words like that come with this kind of music. And I noticed many of you out there as you sat with your eyes closed and listened, and you let it really penetrate you. This was beautiful. And so, well done, and thank you very much. Pretty amazing what wood and horsehair together with some real talent can do. Phenomenal.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Representative Pendergraft, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Privilege of the floor.
Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, up in the South Gallery, my very dear friend and Sheridan County Commissioner, Ollie Jennings.
Welcome, Commissioner Jennings. I can't see you, but welcome to the House. Glad you're here. There you are. Thank you for being with us. Appreciate you. Any other announcements? Representative Lawley, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Hang on, I lost my paper. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Rule 2-4, I move that the House recedes from its non-concurrence and adopt the Senate amendments for House Bill 72, and would like to explain.
Please proceed.
Thank you. As you recall, we were kind of working two bills at the same time, and I had time last night to go through and line in the bill exactly what the Senate did and where they put things. And except for the little change of the title, which I'm willing to let go of, I think we should recede our non-concurrence. And what that does, then we are concurring with those Senate amendments to House Bill 72. So I feel very comfortable with them, that we stay in line with our policies. And I just will say that on the other side, the bill that was being worked, the Senate file here, that I expect that there will be some some concurrence on the changes we made. So I feel like that we have done the work. Some I did last night, the other sponsor did last night, and I think we have good policy, coherent and consistent policy in this space. So again, I would ask for an aye vote to recede our non-concurrence on House Bill 72. Thank you.
Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, the motion appears to be in order, and here's how we will proceed. We will first vote on the question of rescinding the previous action of the House in not concurring to the Senate amendments to House Bill 72. If that motion passes, we will then take a second vote on the original motion to concur with the Senate amendments to House Bill 72. Does everyone understand what we are going to do here? The motion to rescind is debatable and requires a vote of a majority of the members elected. So, any questions? Seeing none, whenever we're ready here, we'll have a brief moment, allow the computer to get straightened back out here and find the proper heading or title here, and then we can proceed. Just for the sake of argument, I will read this again, because I don't think you all didn't get it, but it's always good to repeat things. I found that out as a child. We will first vote on the question of rescinding the previous action of the House in not concurring to the Senate amendments to House Bill 72. So we're going to pull that back. If that motion passes, we will then take a second vote on the original motion to concur with the Senate amendments to House Bill 72. So that's what we're doing right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Allemand. Andrew. Angelos. Banks. Bear. Brady. Bratton. Brown Gary. Brown Landon. Byron. Campbell Elisa. Campbell Kevin. Chestick. Clausen. Connolly. Davis. Eklund. Erickson. Filer. Geringer. Guggenmoss. Haroldson. Harshman. Heiner. Heft. Jarvis. Johnson. Kelly. Knapp. Larson Lloyd. Larson JT. Lawley. Lean. Locke. Lucas. McCann. Nicholas. Ottman. Pendergraft. Posey. Provenza. Riggins. Rodriguez Williams. Schmid. Sherwood. Singh. Smith. Storer. Strzok. Stivar. Tarver. Thayer. Washut. Wasserberger. Webb. Weber. Worf. Williams. Winter, excuse me. Excused. Wiley. Yin. Mr. Speaker, are there any changes? Are there any changes? Sherwood, aye. To no. Further changes. Closing vote. Vote closed. 56 aye, 5 no, 1 excused.
By your motion, you have chosen to rescind. Now, the next vote will be, if that motion passes, which it did, we will take a second vote on the original motion to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 72. So Chief Clerk, you will take the roll.
Allemand? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton? Brown Gary? Brown Landon? Byron? Campbell Elisa? Campbell Kevin? Chestick? Clauston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Filer? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Haroldson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Repeat? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean? Locke? Lucas? McCann? Nicholas? Ottman? Pendergraft? Posey? Provenza? Riggins? Rodriguez Williams? Schmid? Sherwood? Singh? Smith? Storer? Strzok? Stivar? Tarver? Thayer? Washut? Wasserberger? Webb? Weber? Worf? Williams? Winter? Excused. Wiley? Yin? Mr. Speaker, are there any changes? Allemand? No. To aye. Brown Gary? No. To aye. Further changes? Allemand? Further changes? Further changes? Closing vote? Vote closed. 54 aye, 7 no, 1 excused.
By your vote, the House has concurred in the Senate amendments of House Bill 72. Okay. Someone has something else? We have bills on third reading and final passage. I believe we have 2 bills. I guess. If we went down to 1, it wouldn't be a consent list.
If we pull one of them, we only have one consent list? Mr. Speaker, thank you. I move the third reading consent list consisting of the following 2 bills, and I forgot the numbers already. 147 and Senate File 147 and Senate File 9.
Would any member like to remove any bills from the consent list? None. Okay. Will a reading clerk please read the bills on the consent list?
Senate File 9, sponsored by Judiciary, Restoration of Rights Amendments, an act relating to criminal procedure being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 147, sponsored by Senator Hutchings, Service Dog Training and Crimes, an act relating to the protection and rights of blind and disabled persons being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
Having been read 3 separate times, the question is, shall these bills pass the House? Chief Clerk will please call the roll.
Allemand? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton? Brown Gary? Brown Landon? Byron? Campbell Elisa? Campbell Kevin? Chestick? Clouston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Filer? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Haroldson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean? Locke? Lucas? McCann? Nicholas? Ottman? Pendergraft? Posey? Provenza? Riggins? Rodriguez-Williams? Schmid? Sherwood? Singh? Smith? Storer? Strock? Stivar? Tarver? Thayer? Washut? Wasserberger? Webb? Weber? Wharf? Williams? Winter, excused. Wiley? Yin? Mr. Speaker, are there any changes? Are there any changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 60 aye, 2 excused. As for Senate File 9, are there any changes? Are there any changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 60 aye, 2 excused. As for Senate File 147, are there any changes? Bear, aye to no. Further changes. Yin, aye to no. Provenza, aye to no. Sherwood, aye. Sherwood, aye to no. Further changes. Closing vote. Vote closed. 56 aye, 4 no, 2 excused.
Having received the affirmative vote of the majority of members elected to the House, Senate Files 9 and 147 have passed the House. Moving on to third reading regular. We have for our consideration Senate File 103. Reading clerk.
Senate File 103, sponsored by Senator Steinmetz, terminating and defunding diversity, equity, and inclusion, an act relating to the administration of government being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
We have amendments. First amendment for our consideration, amendment number 1, third reading. Representative Chestic, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move third reading amendment number 1 to Senate File 103. Members, this is a revisit to an amendment I proposed last time because of a problem with the title of the second section being created in this bill. The title, as listed, says Prohibition on Expenditure of Funds for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Critical Race Theory. That is inaccurate. It's not what this section actually does. Number one, it does not prohibit expenditures. It simply restricts requirements to take certain courses, and it doesn't really address critical race theory. It does not prohibit the teaching of critical race theory. So my amendment is to simply change the title, and this does not change the substantive part of the bill at all. All the language that's substantive remains the same. We're just putting an accurate title on this new section called Restrictions on Required Courses for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I have spoken with one of the co-sponsors and hope that this is satisfactory to him. I urge your aye vote.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Haraldson, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I believe this is a good catch, and I don't see any issues with this moving forward or impacting the bill in any way. So I'd ask for your aye vote.
Any other members for their first time? Question being called. Back to the bringer. Good. Members, you're voting on third reading amendment number 1 to Senate File 103. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no. Amendment has been adopted. Senate File, let's see, we got another one. Next reading amendment for our consideration, Senate File number 2 to Senate File 103. Representative Larson. Lloyd, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to move third reading amendment number 2 to Senate File 103. Folks, last night as we left, I think somebody in another pasture left the gate open, and there's a lot of the horses got out, and I don't even know if we can even find their tracks this morning. So some of us have been contemplating over the night maybe another horse to saddle up on our side of the ranch, and how we can maybe help get some of these important things that really need to move forward done. And so I would preface some action that was started by the previous couple of appropriations committee back to our university and its relationship with the medical school that we currently are engaged in. And the question was always, what if? What if it becomes too expensive? What if we don't like the curriculum? What if, and we didn't have a plan B? And so we made a couple of assignments to them to engage with universities that we had previously engaged with, one being in the state to the east of us and one being to the state to the west of us, and see if they would be interested in having some conversations and providing medical education to some of our UW graduates. This last year and a half, I had the good fortune of working with the university it's in the bill, so the University of Utah and their medical school, who at one time held seats for Wyoming, and approached us and said in their rural division, their rural medical slot, that they could hold 5 seats for Wyoming if we wanted to do that. We engaged with them, with the university, come to an agreement. And one of the things that they brought up to us, that they says there's a real interest from some of the other Intermountain states who have a little more conservative opinion on social issues. And that's because that state last year passed House Bill 261, which is very similar to the bill that we have in front of us, House Bill 103, in defining who and what and how we can use DEI in state government and in higher education, and noted that that university would comply with all manner of that new law. So in this amendment, what we do in this bill is we go to page 11 and we put in this provision that was in another document that we thought we was going to maybe see coming over from the other side, that is one of the horses that got out last night. And it makes the appropriation for this year for $550,000 for 5 seats at the University of Utah. And then it goes on to fund that moving forward so that we would every year be able to have 5 seats in those succeeding years. An important part of this amendment is if you look on line 20 under Romanent 2, students receive medical education and training under this section shall comply with the state of Utah's diversity, equity, and inclusion laws as they pertain to instruction, training provided at the University of Utah School of Medicine. A question was asked by one of you earlier, is there a need to get that done this year? And my response back is yes, because there's pressure on those seats because of this very matter that we're talking about, that there's, if we don't want to use the seats, there's other states that do. So I know we'll see some other amendments through the course of the day on other bills with different colored horses attached to them as well, but hope that you'll be mindful of what the joint committee number 2 had approved originally. That seemed to get out last night and be gone over to the next canyon. So with that, Mr. Chairman, happy to answer any questions.
Oh, let it begin. Representative Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be very consistent with this, and I totally sympathize with what has occurred and where we're at in this body and what has happened down the hall. But I am going to stand firm, and I am going to submit to this body. I'm not going to call a rules committee. We'll let the body decide this. But this, in my opinion, is blatantly unconstitutional to alter this bill beyond its original purpose. I appreciate very much so the situation that we are in. I apologize for my flip out yesterday, but I'm going to stand firm and sit here and tell you guys this, just because something has happened does not mean we just go into crisis mode and just start doing things unconstitutionally. We have an oath. So on and against.
Representative Williams, Chairman Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the fence on this amendment, a quick question for the bringer. I appreciate the language in the amendment that talks about complying with the Utah University's DEI program, but obviously the bill focuses on Wyoming's. I'm just curious if there's, I don't know. I mean, they're Wyoming students going to Utah. I'd like to see them comply with ours, but obviously, you know, they're not in our facility. Just a little more discussion on that from the bringer.
Representative Bear, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to go ahead and address a little bit of the previous speaker about the state to our west, northwest. They have passed a very similar bill that we're attempting to pass here. So I think as far as alignment, this program does align more with what the bill is in its intent is. We are starting a new program with this funding with a different university, and it would be more in line with what this bill is trying to do, I believe. We are not shutting down yet the program that we have in that state further to the west, which probably does not align with this bill. But I do want the body to understand, you know, what we're doing here. It's a policy decision. Are we going to use our funding in this particular example to try to effectuate what the heart and soul of this bill is? So I agree with the previous speaker, the good chairman of Labor Health, that this type of a financial decision would align. But I also want the body to understand that we're going to have a lot of attempts to shoehorn some things in that were in House Bill 1, Senate File 1, and I'm going to ask you to resist some of these because I'm all about saving money. And so if that's something that you're motivated by, I would say that many of these things that we're looking at didn't absolutely have to be in House Bill 1 or Senate File 1, because this is a supplemental, those were intended to be a supplemental budget. We had a lot of discussion about, is it an emergency? Is it an unforeseen contingency? And I would say that this is not either of those. So this is something that we could do in next year's budget. And I would ask the body to resist this, and let's take this up. I think it's a good move to do this. And if it does get into this bill, you know, I don't think it's going to hurt the bill. I would certainly support the bill, but I would prefer it not to be in the bill based on spending. So make your policy choice based on that.
Any other representative? Representative Heiner? Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I like this idea of bringing our medical students closer to home, especially for southwestern Wyoming, the western part of the state. As we send our medical students to the west coast or the left coast, it becomes more difficult to bring them home to the cowboy state.
Representative Heiner, we probably don't want to call him that. Try to refrain from that, but go ahead, please.
I was waiting, Mr. Speaker, for that one. Sorry about that, Chamber. I shouldn't have said that, and may that be stricken from the record.
Go ahead, Representative Heiner.
So my question for the bringer on this, with the additional seats that we're allocating here at this university that's closer to Wyoming and the appropriation, will the number of seats be reduced in that other state that we have traditionally utilized? And will that appropriation be reduced, and so it's a net wash in the amount of money being allocated? If we're going to increase the seats here, are we going to reduce the seats over there, or are we going to have a net increase in medical students and costs going forward?
Representative Washut, Chairman Washut.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, regardless of how you feel about this particular bill, this was the House position when House Bill 1 left. And I'm just calling on the members to ride for the brand. Rally up. Bicameralism is a real thing, and the body at the other end just told us to pound sand, and I think it's time for us to stand up for our position. On and for.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Harshman, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a little, I think I can answer a few of those questions. We started with 12 slots with the WWAMI program, and as slots came available, we are now at the max 20. There are no more slots available to train Wyoming kids to become physicians to come back in Wyoming. This all goes back to the mid-'70s, big push to have Wyoming's own medical school. And unfortunately, that legislature didn't have the foresight to do that. I think if you had a large medical campus in the middle of the state with a university hospital, this state would probably be in a different position than it is today. And we chose at that time to do a couple little residencies in Natrona County and Laramie County. And those are good, but you see the return of physicians that do those residencies is pretty small to stay in Wyoming. And I think that's another issue for another day. But this issue to train Wyoming kids, I think the first question is, do we have enough kids? Yes, we do. So when you look at the number of qualified applicants for the WWAMI program, we have more than 25 each year. Okay, the history of this, we used to train our docs at this University of Utah. It's in the amendment, I said, and then also to the east in the Cornhusker State. And then also south. We have a history of training them here south of us about 70 miles. All that has kind of changed long before any of us were here, and we're in this new program now that's going on its third decade. That's fine. I think it's served us well. Got some incredible kids. We heard the representative from Casper about his care and all that. It's really important. So these 5 slots will not stay forever. Maybe they'll be there next year, but maybe they won't. And as we try to tackle our frontier medicine challenges in this state, it's a real small investment in our really sharp kids so they come back here and take care of us. And again, on and for the House position, I really appreciate the bringer thinking of this and bringing it forward, and be a great opportunity for 5 more of our kids. And then we'll just keep amplifying that and growing our state. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Eklund, for your first time.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker.
Morning, Representative. Good to see you.
So, yeah, I think when you look at what's been crushed, it's something that I don't think we've ever done that before. Just said phooey on the budget. That's something that we always do. You have to look at what's not going to happen. There's a lot that's not going to happen for the state of Wyoming, and we came up here to do what's good for, that was my main promise. Come up and do what's good for Wyoming, and I'll pay attention and try to vote right on that. And I think all of us have that attitude. So if we can work some things in, this one, I came up here to ask a couple questions, and I think a lot was answered by the previous speaker. This would be 5 more seats. I believe in the present program we've got, that is paid for by the student if they don't come back to Wyoming. And that would be the same case here. And we have more and more students that everybody needs doctors. And we have more and more students that are leaving. You ask, why would they leave if they have to pay back the tuition? Well, they've been poached away by a whole lot more money from other states. So this gives us 5 more chances to get doctors in the state. And I'll attest to what the privilege that was done this morning by one of our freshman legislators. I'll echo that. Healthcare in Wyoming is really, really good, and we want to keep it that way. And this program is a way of doing it. This would be a new program, and it may be an emergency if the seats disappear by the time we come back in the budget session. So I'm an eye on this amendment. Let's see where it can go.
Representative Davis, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm an eye on this vote too. You know, Bobby, just this session, we've talked several times about shortage of doctors, OP, you know, everything that we're running into in the state of Wyoming, why they're leaving and things like that. So if this is a chance to retain some medical services in the state of Wyoming, I'm all in favor of this.
Representative Pendergraft, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and for the amendment. Couple of things. One, if we don't take advantage of this now, it likely won't come back. Another state will probably step in and take up those slots. And so I think this is a good opportunity. Yeah, there's an expense involved, but I look at it more as an investment in this case, and I think it's a good one. So I'd urge an aye.
Thank you, Representative. Any others for their first time? Seeing none, second time. Oh, Representative Ottman, first time. Boy, that's so close.
Yeah.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would just say, you know, after a lot of thought, could you try to figure out all the ramifications and how all these pieces are going to move or anything like that? After yesterday, I have a real burden about our medical students and what they're learning and what physicians and CNAs and nurses and everybody is having to go through, and what the expectations are, and to have the opportunity to have them in a school that is more conservative, I see as a great opportunity. So I agree as well.
Thank you, Representative. Any other members for their first time? First time on the amendment? Second time on the amendment. Representative Baer, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want the body to understand, you know, the financial ramifications. When we do start this, this is the first year. So the next year it'll be double that, and then it'll be another $550K okay, in the third year on top of that, so it triples from this number, quadruples, so that you're paying for each of those classes that are entering in, and you're paying for the next class and the next class. So this is going to grow until you get every class filled. And I think I would argue against my good vice chair that said that we're never going to see this opportunity again. I think the opportunity is going to be there, and I would urge a no vote on the amendment, and let's get this into the budget next year.
Representative Williams, Rodriguez-Williams, please, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good debate. Appreciate the opportunity to debate the amendment. I think the body's already made a decision on this concept. I think, well, I do look at it as opportunity and investment, and really I want to give this state a chance, really to help this industry grow and enable these kids to come back and serve in the field. So on and for.
Thank you, Representative. Any other members for their second time? Second time to the bringer. Representative Larson, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thanks for the conversation. I think we adequately talked about the issues at hand, and I appreciate that. Going to the conversation on the funding, and I appreciate and agree on the investment side. My thinking last night, as I was saying, what the heck do we do here as we try to rectify some of the carnage that took place yesterday, is evaluate and say, where were the House and the Senate on this position as they finished third reading votes in each body? We supported this amendment, which was adopted by JEC, as did the Senate. So there was never any pushback on the funding of this, and realizing that it would be ongoing until it reached that fourth year and then is sustained forward. So for me, the pushback on why we would want to do it today is the real potential that's there that we lose the seats. I'm just not much of a gambler. A bird in hand is worth, the prospect of putting it off. I would like to the good chairman of Labor and Health, I hopefully address maybe a question that she asked, and part of that is why put that language in there to make sure our University of Wyoming graduates who go down there to school understand our expectations for them as well. So we're passing this bill, 103 on DEI. And I think when our students, regardless of where they go, if they go to that university that has the Fighting Irish, or that church school down in the Lone Star State that's the Mustangs, or to that one in the neighboring state that's the Cougars that we like to beat as often as we can. There's an expectation when they go to those private universities that they're going to comply within that scope of ownership. I think it's fair for us to expect when Lloyd and Becky send their kids someplace, they expect them to behave the way they're supposed to. And when we send our students down there on this to a university to get medical training, that we're providing a great opportunity for them. We're wanting them to know that we expect that they're going to comply with this level of DEI understanding. And if they don't like that, if they don't think that that's right, then don't apply for that, to go to that school. So I hope that answers that. Great conversation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Larson. Body, you are voting on third reading amendment number 2 to Senate File 103. All those in favor signify. There's going to be a roll call. Just testing, just checking to see if you're awake and you're paying close attention. There we go. The chief clerk is going to get it queued up, and we will do a roll call on this because there is an appropriation on this amendment.
Allemand? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton? Brown Gary? Brown Landon? Byron? Campbell Elisa? Campbell Kevin? Chestick? Klauston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Feiler? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Haroldson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean? Locke? Lucas? McCann? Nicholas? Ottman? Pendergraft? Posey? Provenza? Riggins? Rodriguez Williams? Schmid? Sherwood? Singh? Smith? Storer? Strock? Stivar? Tarver? Thayer? Washut? Wasserberger? Webb? Weber? Worf? Williams? Winter, excused. Wiley? Yin? Mr. Speaker, are there any changes? Are there any changes? Closing. Allemand, aye. Excuse me, Allemand, no to aye. Further changes. Closing vote. Vote closed. 32 aye, 27 no, 3 excused.
By your vote, you have chosen to adopt third reading amendment number 2 to Senate File 103. Next amendment for our consideration, number 3, Representative Sherwood, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move third reading amendment number 3 to Senate File 103 and ask for your favorable consideration. Folks, there is a foundation in my community that drew this concern to my attention, and it is the clarification of public funds, different than state funds or charitable funds. So on page 3, line 22, we clarify that the monies that we are talking about that a governmental entity may receive are public funds that have these limitations. On page 4, there on the top, so we're saying unless federal law requires, and then there's a list of considerations there. And what I'm doing is clarifying public funds and then adding the phrase or donor intent. Sometimes that's known as a restricted gift. And the reason I'm doing that is that there is a state law in Chapter 17 of our Wyoming state law that refers to uniform, prudent management of institutional funds. Wow, that's a word, that's a mouthful that I just learned that phrase this morning. So essentially it's an act that, or a law that provides guidelines on how charities that invest and grant out public monies manage those. So it's sideboards around endowment funds, but it also ensures that they are spent according to donor intent. So I wanted to make sure that this language in here for this consideration, unless federal law or donor intent is in the bill. Keep in mind that a governmental entity can refuse a gift from a donor. So if that restricted gift comes with DEI considerations, that governmental entity can say no thanks, right? This language does not prohibit somebody saying, I don't want to take that gift. So if there are any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Representative. Any discussion? Any discussion? Representative Haroldson. First time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So this has been kind of a conversation bouncing in and around over the last little while, starting last night, going into today. I understand and I hear the concerns and comments. This is kind of a policy decision that we need to make if we feel or want to put these sideboards on. So I think if everyone could look at the bill, look at what this reads in as it currently stands. If we look at page 3 and we kind of talk about what funds can be used and how funds are used, as a condition of receiving or expending, this is subsection B, line 20 of page 3, as a condition of receiving or expending any monies or funds appropriated, each governmental entity shall not expend any appropriated funds or funds received from, bequest, charged, deposited, donated, endowed, fees, grants, gifts, tuition, or any other source of programs or activities that unless federal law otherwise requires. This here would then make that to be just stated as publicly given funds or public funds. And so it removes that private aspect out of that. And so what the concern is it could unintentionally create a loophole. Now on the flip side, not having it in here could also create potential other problems. And so I think this is, I know it's close to lunchtime, and I know that we're on third reading, but I would ask that we kind of have this conversation because I see the merit of both sides. And so I think that it's a good conversation to have, and we need to have this conversation. The initial knee-jerk reaction I have is no. But at the same time, I've heard a lot of people talking about this, and I think we need to have this conversation and move forward. And what I don't want to do is have unintended consequences by any action we have. Obviously, that's always our concern when we stand in this house and we make these decisions, is what is the long-term consequences or benefits. And so I think we need to have this conversation. And so would just ask maybe we could, instead of just voting on this, have a little bit of conversation and let's chew it out together and see where we land on it. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Representative. Any other members for their first time? Representative Bear, first time.
First for a second.
First for a second. Any other members for their first time? Seeing none, back to the bringer. There we go. Representative Clouston, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As somebody who spent years on a cancer care board, we would get lots of donations that were set for, different things that would help things in our community, or, the button to call for help, or when we set up a CT scanner. A lot of the donations were specific for a certain project. So I appreciate the bringer of this amendment and how it would help in those situations. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Any others for their first time? Don't want to miss anyone. We're good? Second time. Seeing no one rushing to the, Representative Bear.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and opposed to the amendment. So when it comes to a policy decision this body makes, obviously it affects funding. And here we are deciding whether we're going to allow private funding to go against the policy that this bill is trying to purport. So I think it sends a very clear message. Now, does that mean that some grant monies will be at risk? Yes, it does. But should we be seeking grant money that goes in opposition to the heart of this bill? And I think that's the issue. So on and against the amendment.
Any other members for their first time? I've got Representative Haraldson and Clouston. Representative Haraldson, second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No, and I think that is the policy that decision we have to make. And I think at the end of the day, we need to be incredibly concerned if we get to a point in a place where we say, you know what, this isn't going to be taught, or this isn't going to be pushed, or this isn't going to be an idea, well, except for when it's private funds. And that's where, as this conversation's been going on over the last probably 12 hours, with maybe a little bit of sleep right in the middle of that, the truth is, that's been my concern. That's why my name isn't on this amendment, because I was asked to bring this forward as an idea and a concern, but I still go back in that balancing of, hey, do we really want to impose an idea inside of there of, well, this applies except, in these situations. And at the end of the day, I stand 100% behind the idea that we want to eliminate the conversation of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and what that has turned into in our day and age, and what how that's not serving us. And so I believe that by doing this, we do create a carve out. Now, on the flip side, the conversation of that there will be grants that will be left on the table. And again, as the good chairman said, maybe we didn't want the grants in the first place. But again, thank you for the conversation and for just your guys' heart on it, and would say personally, I will be on and against this amendment.
Okay, any other member? I guess the only other member that could speak to it would be Representative Clouston. Choose not to, or he's not available. Back to the bringer. Representative Sherwood, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and body. And it is a policy consideration. And I think it's really easy for us as collective appropriators to put restrictions or expectations on state funds and when and where we accept federal funds. But I think private monies get into a little bit of a gray line here. And consider that maybe there is a donor who wants to provide funding for a Black History Month program. I don't know that it's clear in the existing language that that would be allowed. And so I do want us to consider those unintended consequences. And again, sort of, where our role as state level appropriators starts and stops, and then where we start to impact private funds and donor intent. So policy consideration, but I ask for your favorable consideration.
Members, you're voting on third reading amendment number 3 to Senate File 103. This is a roll call. Or no, this shouldn't be. No, we're good. This is just words, so we're not going to roll call. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. Amendment has not been adopted. Division being called. All those in favor, please stand. You may be seated. Those opposed, more than 18. So, amendment has not been adopted. Okay. Senate File 132. Let's see,
Speaker?
Is it one? Oh, I'm on the wrong page. I'm sorry. Senate File 103, having been read 3 separate times, the question is, shall the bill pass the House? Chief Clerk will please call the roll.
Alamand? Andrew?
Aye.
Angelos? Banks? Bear?
Aye.
Brady? Bratton? Brown, Gary? Brown, Landon? Byron? Campbell, Elisa? Excused, Campbell, Kevin? Chestick? Clouston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Feiler? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Haroldson?
Aye.
Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean? Locke?
Aye.
Lucas? McCann? Nicholas? Ottman? Pendergraft? Posey? Provenza? Riggins? Rodriguez Williams? Schmid? Sherwood? Singh? Smith? Storer? Strock? Stivar? Tarver? Thayer?
I'm sorry.
Excused, Washut, Wasserberger, Webb? Weber?
Aye.
Wharf? Williams? Winter, excused. Wiley? Yin? Mr. Speaker, are there any changes? Are there any changes? Byron, no to aye. Jarvis, aye to no. Further changes? Further changes. Closing vote. Vote closed. 52 aye, 7 no, 3 excused.
Senate File 103, having received the affirmative vote of the majority of the members elected to the House, Senate File 103 has passed the House. Next Senate file for consideration.
Mr.
Senate
Speaker.
File. Representative Bear, please.
Mr. Speaker, sorry to interrupt. According to House Rule 7-3, I would like to lay back Senate File 153 for 1 day.
Barring objection from the House, seeing no objection, Senate File 153 has been laid back 1 day. Next Senate file for consideration, Senate File 132.
Senate File 132, sponsored by Senator Jones, protecting critical infrastructure and system from drones, an act relating to defense forces and affairs being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
We have amendments. First amendment to 132. Representative Yin, please.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I move third reading number amendment number 1 to Senate File 132. Is that correct? Yes. 132, and ask for your favorable consideration.
Welcome to the club, Representative.
So, members, it's a Thursday. We're almost there. Members, this amendment removes the photographing part of the bill. Photographing is a free speech issue. We can legally photograph from the ground. Legally photographing from the air should not be a crime. And so, just removing that part from the bill, I understand with the rest of the bill. I'll probably vote for the rest of the bill, I think, but this is my one real issue with it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Minority Floor Leader. Representative Larson, JT, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm on and against the amendment. Members, taking photographs of private property, I don't believe should be allowed, especially with a drone. That's one invasion of privacy. If it was your home, while it's not contemplated in this bill, you wouldn't want that. So I don't think businesses want their property and their infrastructure taken, or having photos taken of them. So I just stand on it against the amendment and ask you to vote no on the amendment.
Any other members? Representative Provenza, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This was something that we heard quite a bit about during our committee number 1 interim. This issue is very complicated, and when you don't have carve-outs for First Amendment protections, you run into constitutionality concerns. So there are instances where photos, we talk about researchers, we can talk about the press. If it's not being used maliciously, you can and should be able to take pictures under the First Amendment.
Representative Wiley, for your first time, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, this is, look at the title of the bill, critical infrastructure. So it's no different than, military bases or anything like that. These are places that we need to put some protections on so we don't have incidents that are detrimental to the defense of the nation.
Representative Tarver, for your first time, Vice Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not for or against this amendment, but Google Earth is taking pictures 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So if you want to pay enough money, we can jump on there and look at everything that a satellite can see right now. So just saying.
Any other representative for their first time? First time, Representative Geringer, first time, sir.
Mr. Speaker, on and against the amendment, to counter the point that was just made, the satellite images that are being photographed are really more about, they're not as high resolution as what we're talking about in these sorts of things. We're talking about instances where somebody's sending up a vehicle for a specific type of infrastructure and things that move over time can be photographed with those drones. I just don't think, with the intent of what this bill is, I think that removing that portion of it really kind of kills the bill. I'm on and against.
Any other members first time? Representative Riggins, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm in favor of this amendment, and I'm opposed to this bill the way it's currently written. One of the parts is taking photographs intentionally or otherwise. Every drone has a camera on it, and they're flying it. One of the parts of the infrastructure is pipeline right away. Thousands of miles of land with pipeline, public, private, mixed up. Frequently, you'll see people doing travel logs and stuff on YouTube, and they just take a wide scope. They're not purposely taking a picture of it anyway. I just think this whole bill doesn't solve the problem. And so I'll be voting against it at the end of it because of that, but I would vote in favor of this amendment.
Any other member? Representative Singh, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I feel like such a stickler with what I'm about to say, but folks, please don't use the names of individual companies when we're talking about whatever satellite services are provided. Thank you.
Good catch. Any other members? First time. On the amendment. Seeing none, second time. Representative J.T. Larson, okay? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, members, the way the bill is written means, I think it gives a lot of flexibility for our law enforcement and our courts to deal with this. So if somebody was taking just like a landscape photo of over public land, but maybe there is a pipeline over it, they didn't do that with any ill intent. What this bill is trying to get to is, and law enforcement's not going to, I don't think they're going to press charges for that. That's just not the goal of the bill. And the heart of the bill is trying to protect, our coal-fired power plants, our refineries, those types of infrastructure that we want to make sure are protected. Just like you don't want a drone flying over a jail or a correctional institution or any of those high secure areas. You don't want people gathering data this is like about national security, state security. You don't want drones flying over that, taking photos and potentially plotting something that's going to harm our state. So again, on and against the amendment, for the bill, encourage an aye vote on the bill.
Any other members for the second time? Representative Riggins? Feels like you're wanting to go back there. Very good. Representative Riggins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've read through that text, and I don't remember reading the words discretion or grace or things that were mentioned during our committee hearings. And we're asking law enforcement to make that decision. It is what it says it is in the bill. Whatever's written in black and white, that's their obligation. So I just think this is, if this bill was passed, not one response that the law enforcement did when we talked about the stuff in the county that was affected would have made one bit of difference. We might try the office of the president, maybe, FBI, and every other intelligence agency, because that's what we're talking about here. We're not going to solve this problem in this body. We'd be better off asking the governor, form a task force to try to handle this problem. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Any other representative for a second time? Speaking to the amendment. Seeing none. Representative Yang.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. So members, again, taking a picture by itself is not illegal. The company that takes the pictures from the satellite also takes pictures from a car that goes down the street, takes a picture of your house. If you're standing in front of your window, it's going to be on that picture. Not illegal. If that car is driving next to critical infrastructure, it's going to take a picture of that critical infrastructure. Taking a photo by itself has no malicious intent. We have the other parts of the bill, I think, that protects our critical infrastructure. taking a photograph by itself should not be a reason to commit a crime. Even if it's in a drone in the air, or if it's someone walking down the street, we should treat those the same. And with that, that's the reason I brought forth the amendment. It is a free speech issue, and I ask for your favorable consideration. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Body, you are voting on third reading amendment number 1 to Senate File 132. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. The amendment has not been adopted. Next amendment for our consideration, Senate File 132, third reading amendment number 2. Representative Larson, JT, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll move third reading amendment number 2 to Senate File 132 and ask for your favorable consideration. Members, what this amendment tries to accomplish is the other half of the liability piece. If our law enforcement does take action to remove these drones out of the air, that this provides some civil damages for the affected owner of that drone, and it goes into our into the office of the governor, and I can say that because it's in the amendment. So just ask for your favorable consideration. It's $500,000. I did do some research on the cost of drones. It varies, and not knowing exactly what type of drone is up there, I just know they're big, and they have little small ones too that are bouncing off of it. It can range, I mean, anywhere from the small ones are probably right around $1,000 a piece, and then the big ones can, I mean, 50,000 and up. I mean, it's a big discussion. Wanted to make sure that there was some money set aside to address the civil damages if need be. If we had to come back and in the next year and increase that amount more, I think we can, but I felt that it was appropriate just to have a little bit of money set aside for this, and encourage an aye vote on it. So thank you.
Any members for their first time? Representative Haraldson, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and against this amendment, the good attorney that represents our executive branch, if this were to be an issue, they would have to fund this out of their budget in the interim until we get back in and have a discussion as a body. And so I don't believe just putting an amount of money aside, doing this type of an appropriation without knowing what we're actually getting into would probably be the wisest choice or answer. So on and against the amendment. And really, guys, I think I want to just also say one of the things we need to be very careful of is when we talk about drones, I too sat through all of the committee meetings as we talked about this. And truth be told, if we take little slivers of statute out or place little slivers of statute in when it comes to the regulation of these devices, overwhelmingly, there has to be a wholesale approach to addressing drones in not only Wyoming, but in this country, because they're here. They're here to stay. They're a part of our fabric now as a society. But I believe we need to be careful that we don't get out in front of our skis too much on any of these things, because there is so many unknowns to this. So this being one of them, let's not get the cart before the horse on this. And if it's something where next year we come back, if this becomes law and we're like, man, we're taking down drones and it's costing the state money and we need to address this, okay, then we can address it at that time. But preemptively, I don't believe is the answer. So on and against the amendment.
Thank you, Representative. Any others for their first time? Representative Nicholas, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and against the amendment, ladies and gentlemen, if law enforcement is removing drones based upon any policies we establish by this body or by laws of the state or the federal government, we shouldn't be liable. And what we don't want to do is open up our books and give up our immunity that we have in enforcing our laws, and creating a pot of money for drones is just a camel's nose under the tent. It's just not, it's not good. It's got business for the state, and it's not good for Wyoming, and it's the wrong message. So on and against.
Thank you, Representative. Any others for their first time? On the amendment, first time? Second time on the amendment? Seeing none, back to the bringer, Representative Larson, and this will be a roll call, so we have an appropriation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the discussion that people brought forward. I really brought this amendment for further discussion on it, and encourage you to vote your conscience on the amendment, and definitely vote aye on the bill. This is a very important bill to address the problems in my neck of the woods, so I encourage an aye vote on the bill as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Members, you're voting on third reading amendment number 2 to Senate File 132. Chief Clerk will call the roll.
Ellamand? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton? Brown Gary? Brown Landon? Byron? Campbell Elisa? Excused, Campbell Kevin? Chestick? Clauston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Feiler? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Haroldson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean? Locke? Lucas? McCann? Nicholas? Ottman? Pendergraft? Posey? Provenza? Riggins? Rodriguez Williams? Schmid? Sherwood? Singh? Smith? Storer? Strzok? Stivar? Tarver? Thayer? Washut? Wasserberger? Webb? Weber? Worf? Williams? Winter? Excused? Wiley? Yin? Mr. Speaker, are there any changes? Harshman, aye, to no. Further changes? Heft, no to aye. Heft, repeat. Aye to no. Andrew, excuse to no. Further changes? Further changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 2 aye, 57 no, 3 excused.
By your vote, you have chosen not to adopt third reading amendment number 2 to Senate File 132. Next amendment for our consideration, Senate File 132, Representative Larson, JT.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At this time, I'll move third reading amendment number 3 to Senate File 132. Members, what this does is provides a little bit of flexibility in the definition of critical infrastructure or system by allowing the governor to deem any other facility as a necessary part of that. Just provides some flexibility for that office. This was a concern that was brought forward by the office that deals with security at our homeland, and so encourage an aye vote on this. It just provides that flexibility just in case there's something we missed in that list. So aye vote on this, please.
Representative Bear, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and for the amendment, I think this is good policy, folks. We would all be disappointed if we were at home away from session and it was determined that something was going on that shouldn't be, that something we had missed as far as critical infrastructure, what hadn't been determined critical infrastructure, and our executive didn't take action. This allows him to do so. So on and for the amendment, good policy.
Any other members, first time? On the amendment, first time. Seeing none, second time, back to the bringer. Members, you're voting on third reading amendment number 3 to Senate File 132. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Amendment has been adopted. All right, I do believe that is it. Double check. Yep, we're good. Senate File 132 having been read 3 separate times, the question is, shall the bill pass? Chief Clerk will please call the roll.
Allemand? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton? Brown Gary? Brown Landon? Byron? Campbell Elisa? Excused, Campbell Kevin? Chestick? Clauston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Feiler? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Haroldson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean? Locke? Lucas? McCann? Nicholas? Repeat. Ottman? Pendergraft? Posey? Provenza? Riggins? Rodriguez Williams? Schmid? Sherwood? Singh? Smith? Storer? Strock? Stivar? Tarver? Thayer? Washut? Excused, Wasserberger? Webb? Weber? Worf? Williams? Winter? Excused, Wiley? Yin? Mr. Speaker, are there any changes? Allemand? No to aye. Further changes? Further changes. Closing vote. Vote closed. 50 aye, 9 no, 3 excused.
Senate File 132, having received the affirmative vote of the majority of the members elected to the House, Senate File 132 has passed the House. Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House stand in recess until 2:15.
You have heard the motion. Are there any committee announcements? Representative Knapp, Chairman Knapp.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Your Corporations Committee number 7 will meet tomorrow after noon recess, 30 minutes after noon recess, for our interim topics discussions.
Thank you, Representative. Any other announcements? Representative Chairman Byron.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Committee number 6, Travel, Recreation, Wildlife, Cultural Resources will meet at 12:30 today, 12:30, to talk about Senate Joint Resolution 8, Senate File 144, and Senate File 91.
Thank you. Chairman Brown, number 8, Transportation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your committee number 8, Transportation, Highways, Military Affairs, is going to meet in 15 minutes. We've got 3 bills on our agenda, and I can't seem to pull it up on my computer, so.
It'll be a surprise. How fun is that? Any other announcements? Announcements, going once, going twice? You have heard the motion of the Majority Floor Leader. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no. The House will stand in recess until 2:15 p.m.